Thank you very much. Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Let me begin by introducing a couple people here. First, of course, my wife, who just arrived by car, flew by plane, and she arrived by car with all the kids, and because of traffic at the Lincoln time, she arrived late. Can you stand up? This is Rosa Jalal. And she came with our baggages and jewelry and joy of our lives, Alexa, Keanu, and Chloe. I want to introduce my very good friend, our ambassador to the United Nations, Hassan Kleb, and his wife, Nonon. He's a rising star in our foreign service, and he's the future minister of something. I want to introduce also another good friend, which is Wayne Forrest. Can you stand up, Wayne? Wayne has been running the American-Indonesia Chamber of Commerce for a long time, since before I was born, in fact. That's how old he is. And he's a very active friend of Indonesia, and his heart and soul are with us. And I want to thank you for your friendship. Thank you. Another distinguished guest and a very good friend I've known for a long time, and I'm so delighted that he's being posted here, is my good friend, Australia's Consul General to New York, Phil Scandon. He's a very beautiful man, very creative, very kind, always eager to help a friend, a great partner. And he has a beautiful house right near the UN, and any of you who's looking for a place to stay, you're welcome to stay at this place. Very cool. And I want to introduce you also someone special, Naomi Bishop from Joyo News. Special because she's been running what is called Joyo News. This is before email news became popular 12 years ago. I already subscribed to Joyo News, which summarizes all news about Indonesia every day. She's helped by her friend Made, who's sitting right next to her. Please stand up, Made. The most impressive thing is they didn't do it for money. They did it as a labor of love. And they've been doing it for so many years. And the Joyo News email sent out, which they do every day, is being heard by, is in the Blackberries and email addresses of all the policymakers in the United States and in Indonesia. So, look, I'm new to America. I just came, I think 6 months ago. I came in September 2010, and I'm also very new to fashion. You know, if you look at me, I'm not a very fashionable guy. Actually, a few weeks ago, I went into a photo shoot for a magazine. It's called, I think it's Washington Life or something. They wanted to have a profile of me, full page, and they want to take a photo of me. And I said, hey, okay, of course. And what do you want me to do? And they said, Ambassador, we want you to look sexy. I had no idea what that meant. I'm a diplomat, right? Ambassador. So I asked my wife what sexy means, and she sent me a photo of George Clooney. I asked Alexa, she's only 6 years old, what does sexy mean? And she showed me her poster of Justin Bieber. And then I asked Keanu what sexy means, and he showed me a photo of Spider-Man, his favorite. But most hurtful of all is when I asked Chloe what sexy means, and she showed me the cartoon character of Goofy. And I took the photo shoot, and actually I asked the photographer, you know, what does sexy mean really, you know? And he said, sexy is when we take a photo of you and the reader's heartbeat rises. Now, I think I did very well. Because when you see this photograph, you're gonna get a heart attack. Anyways, listen. I want to thank everybody for coming here. This is a very exciting project for us. This is the first time Indonesia has ever done this, to put a batik competition in a foreign country. Batik is very special to the Indonesian DNA. In fact, before the term Indonesia was invented, it was invented in the early 20th century or late 19th century, batik, the term batik was already there before the term Indonesia was invented. And batik is probably one of the most enduring and evolving cultural product of Indonesian art. It's like a chameleon, it can be adapted to anything, elite or folk, urban, rural, man, woman. And like the American denim, it is worn and loved and revered by anyone in school, at home, in the market, at the office, in weddings, mosques, and churches, everywhere. And batik makes you feel special because if you look around, everyone who's wearing batik, there's no two batik that are alike. Every batik is different. Every batik has its own signature, has its own character and individuality. And batik is so versatile and so adaptable that we have decided to begin this interesting experiment that begins with a big what if. What if there was an American style batik? What would it look like? Now, let me tell you in the larger context of why this is a relevant question. First is because we live in an era of fusion and confluence. Confluence of ideas, innovations, cultures, and civilizations. East, west, north, south, they're all being mixed up together in this new world that we're living in. Modernity used to be defined by some people as westernization, right? But in the 21st century, modernity is not just westernization. It's also Asianization. It's also Africanization. It's also Arabization, Sinofization, and so on. And the beauty of all this is that this is not like throwing bricks at one another. When you throw ideas and innovations and cultures, they find a way to weave together, often in a harmonious way and in a way that is mutually enriching. Which is why the more this fusion and confluence happens, the better it is for everybody. And the second reason why this project is interesting and relevant is because if you look at all the problems that face us today, hate, conflict, intolerance, narrow-mindedness, ultranationalism, marginalization, poverty, and so on. You look at all these problems and you will find that one important part of the puzzle to resolve them is cultural exchange and understanding. It's very simple, but it has a very deep meaning. Through cultural understanding, you begin to learn how to put yourself in the foot of another. Through cultural exchange and understanding, you begin to understand how other people look at you and how they look at the world. Through cultural exchanges, we began to develop not a world of us versus them, but the new we. How beautiful that is. A world of the new we, not a world of us versus them. And this is why we're doing this. Batik is more than just a unique design. Batik is very spiritual. Every batik is more than just a collection of lines and patterns. every batik has a story. I think the story of batik in the past used to be the inner story of our pain, because we were colonized for so many years. We were oppressed and exploited. 99% of Indonesian population could not read, and all our wealth and riches were brought outside to Europe, where other people became rich at our expense, right? So the people were crying, revolting, but because they did not know how to, they expressed it in artistic ways in the form of batik. But batik today has a lot more stories than in the past. The stories of batik that you see in everyone is a personal journey, a personal expression of love, of joy, of anger, of happiness, of modernity, transformation, struggle, tribulation, hope, pride, assimilation, diversity, complexity, and you name it. This is the signature of batik, which is why batik is so unique, because it tells 1,000 and 1,000,000 stories from those who designed it. And what we're doing with this competition is part of the larger cultural project worldwide, which is to make what is old and tradition something new and modern, right? And this is not just happening in Indonesia. You see everywhere. We just visited Turkey. First, I went with the president I think last year, and I saw an old Islamic heritage who is now exporting their culture in a new way, redefining their way of life, their cultural icons in a very different way in the modern setting, making something old into something new, something traditional into something modern. And through this project, what we want to do is ask American designers, which are known to be among the most creative and innovative and imaginative designers in the world, we want to ask them, how would you inject the American spirit, your emotional and creative content, into the Indonesian heritage of batik? That is the question that we want to ask. This is why we want to launch this competition, and through this we hope they will gain an understanding of Indonesian culture. I think the best metaphor or the best icon for Indonesian batik, for Indonesia, is batik. Why I say this? Because there are politicians and leaders who like to present Indonesia's icon in terms of animals. China is the dragon, right? India is the elephant. Indonesia is the banteng. What is banteng? The bull, right? The strong bull, with the horns and everything. Which is great. I agree with that. But I think batik is a better metaphor. And you know why? Because batik, like Indonesia, and like every Indonesian, is unique and intricate. It is full of individuality and creative content. It is rich in texture, complex in character. It is both traditional and modern. It is full of dignity. It is versatile and always evolving. There's no one batik that will be the final batik for all time. No, it's always evolving. And it comes together by a very delicate process. And it's beautiful, resilient, and proud. You see this in every batik that you see. And this is why I would like to invite fashion designers in New York, in other states, all throughout America, to try to design their interpretation of batik, to try to inject their personal stories into batik, and hopefully in that process they will discover Indonesian and they will discover themselves. I thank you.